let's move on to talking about Masters of the Air, episode 4. So we'll give our scores and then we'll give a spoiler warning before we go into spoilers about it. So, episode 4, you want to go ahead and give your score first?
Sure. And I'm curious if we're going to differ on this. Episode 4, I personally think it's the weakest one. I would probably give this a 6. It could possibly even be a 5 for me. Only reason I didn't give it a 5 and I give it a 6 for a little above average is because I mean, it looks great. It's high production. Like, it's still a great show, and it's an above average show. But they did some things this episode that I didn't care for, and they did something that I hate when shows and movies do, and I know they're going to do it. And to me, that's one of the cardinal sins for a show for me. And I'm curious if you'll agree with me, which you might know what I'm talking about. But I can't
Yeah, I think I do.
get into spoilers. But other than that, like, I like like, it still looked really good. Like that scene with Bucky, I believe, where he's going into town. He's with that girl, and the fire, or not the fireworks, the bombs.
Yeah.
Or like, it had like good scenery and good conversation. Like, it was still a great episode. It's just something we've seen the last 3 episodes, and they revert back again to it. So, like, that's my second main criticism is it's kind of the same thing. Like, mission, go home, mission, go home, mission, go home, which is fine. I get it. You're building it up, but like, it's all very similar. And again, I don't think it's bad. Like, that's why I still get it a 6. I still think it's a great show, above average show. Well, it's, yeah, those 2 points, which I can't really talk about it until we get into spoilers, are why I'll give it a 6 out of 10. It could really be a 5 out of 10, but I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. What about you?
Interesting. We are going to differ on this one because I
Mm.
like this episode. I gave this one an 8. I don't think it was as good as the last episode. But what I liked about this episode was, we talked about it a little bit earlier, how it was like, how are they going to make every single time they go up in the air, like, interesting and different? Like, how it could just all be the same of them, like, going up, being in the plane and it being intense. But this one, they really took a step back and told it from a completely different point of view. And I feel like that was a really good change of pace and a change of perspective that I really liked. It was definitely a slower episode. We didn't have any real like action.
And I don't mind that either.
Yeah.
The slowness, like, I don't mind. Like, that's not why I gave it low.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a slower episode.
Yeah, but I feel like it gave me personally the time I needed to settle in and be like, okay, I'm getting to know these characters a little bit more. Although it wasn't all of them. We had some Bucky scenes, some scenes at the base, getting to know the new people that are coming in, because they always have to have new people because so many of them, die or go down.
Yeah, which I do like how they pointed that out. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, there's a lot of newbies, because obviously, we can't talk about things in previous episodes. And I did like the side story too.
Yeah, I thought the Belgium parts were great. The people in Belgium, that was really like intense and interesting scenes. And there's some other scenes I'll talk about in particular that I really, really liked in this episode. But I felt like it was just a good change of pace episode. That's why I didn't give it a 9, because it was a slower one. It's like, it was needed, but it's not going to be the best of the best episode. And also just having that perspective from the ground of like seeing them take off and then just waiting for them to come back, and like,
yeah,
it was a good change of pace for me.
That's a good way to put it, because even like, well, we'll get into spoilers.
And I understand your complaints, and I think that's totally valid. It is, we'll talk about it in spoilers, but I was confused and kind of shocked, but I'm going to let it be and see how it goes. It could be bad, it could be good. We'll see. So that's why I gave this one an 8.
Okay. No, I can see it, because there are some good parts I really did like about this episode too. So I can see that.
All right, we're getting into spoilers. Spoiler alert. Go watch the show.
Watch it and return and finish this review and see if you agree. Okay, so first things first, I agree with you in a sense of it wasn't. I did like. Well, like, I still give this a 6, right? So I still gave it above average episode. Sure. So I want to re-say it. Like, I still love this episode. So I agree. Like, the stuff in Belgium, those characters kind of on the run, all that stuff, interesting.
Yeah, very.
And even the stuff with Bucky, like I said, that just the conversation with the girl, and you could tell that he's like, this war is getting to him in a sense.
Yeah, that in that scene, like the background of the explosions going off and them talking and him being like, man, I've dropped so many of those bombs, and him realizing like what kind of destruction he brings by doing that. Him seeing
Mhm.
that from the other side was really interesting and dove deeper into
And
his
even
character.
and even having the girl, I don't remember her name, like come up to him and they start having sex or whatever. But it wasn't like it didn't feel sexual. It just felt like more of like there's chaos that's happening and like he wants that human aspect. Like to me, it
Yeah.
didn't feel like it was just like a sexual thing. Well, obviously it was. So you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it was almost beautiful in a sense of like I don't know, like he's
It's two
all this
people.
chaos going
They
around.
both they both are
Yeah.
kind of in similar situations, kind of like not at their home, lost in this war,
Mhm.
and just finding a reprieve. Yeah.
Yeah,
Name
exactly.
Her
So
name
like
was Paulina, by the way. I just pulled that up.
Paulina. Okay. So like, all that stuff, great, and like, so I totally get it. But for me, like, dude, so my biggest complaint is, and I get what they're going for because you're right. You're waiting for them to come home. But my God, I hate when movies and shows kill quote unquote someone off screen.
Yeah.
Where it's a lose lose because he's actually dead, right, and you don't see the death. I
Yeah.
hate that. Or B, he's not dead, which I don't think he's dead, and it's like a wasted cliffhanger. So it's a
Yeah.
lose in my mind, no matter what happens. Now, I do like the aspect of Bucky going nuts up there and not
Yeah.
giving it about nothing. I can't wait to see that. So
Yeah.
that aspect I liked of it. I wish they would have shown, like, if you're gonna kill quote unquote the main character, you don't
Show
do
it.
it off screen.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that. I kept waiting, like throughout the end of that episode. I was like, "Oh, his plane is just going to show up, and they're going to be like, oh, good, he actually did make it, or something." But it
Because
just never
didn't they
happened.
say like 4 parachutes got off?
Yeah, I think so.
So like, look, like again, I liked story side of it with Bucky, like it's like he did that call, like I'm
Yeah. Oh,
suiting up, coach or whatever,
that was one of my favorite scenes. That call with the
Mhm.
code and talking, and you could just see him like freaking
Mhm.
out, kind of, and trying to hold his composure. That was an amazing scene.
I do like that. I just wish it would have been. I don't know. When I think of, I don't know. Maybe you differ, but when I think of emotional, it would have been more emotional if either he not for me it's more emotional if we see him or if he would have saw I don't know from the off-screen thing. I just hate I'll just be straightforward. I hate off-screen deaths.
Yeah.
I hate whether
Let
he's dead
me
or not. He's probably not dead,
Probably
but
not dead. So I have a question for you to try and like
okay.
maybe give away that it could save it a little bit. What if, so say he's not dead, he parachuted down, got captured, whatever.
Mm.
So what if next episode or the episode after we see him in the prison and get flashbacks of him like getting downed and doing, so we'll eventually see it, but just we haven't
Yeah.
seen it yet. Would that make it any better, or is that still kind of like you
Um,
said, a fake cliffhanger or a wasted cliffhanger?
I mean, it would be nice, but for me, that would still be a wasted cliffhanger. It's like the same thing. Remember years ago they did that with like Glenn, right, where he died, and but he
Yeah,
3 episodes later, like it did a flashback and he just hid under the dumpster.
yeah.
It's not that bad. I'm not trying to compare it to that, but
Right.
like,
Same
why
kind of
not
thing
just
though.
show it
Yeah.
now? And you're probably right. They probably wanted to get you on the ground with Bucky and be in his world while this chaos is going on. So maybe the only thing I can think of is if next episode you don't see Bucky at all and it focuses fully on Buck. So if the next episode is a Buck, like a different point of view, but happening, that would be cool. Okay, you're right. I'll let you talk in a second. But
No, you're
if
good.
the next episode it took place in the same exact time of this episode, but the point of view is like, instead of seeing the planes go off, you're going up in the air with Buck, and it's happening at the same time as the other episode, and then it connects in the next episode. Then I would be okay with it because that would be cool. I like when shows, if they're gonna do it that way. Full episode dedicated on Buck and his crew,
I
and
have
then
a
go back to Bucky.
I have a feeling it's not going to be that, but like I feel like it's going to
Probably.
be in a few episodes we'll see it or something. Like they'll keep it as that nebulous, oh, he might be dead, and then Bucky will just go
I know
crazy.
he's not right. I
Yeah.
think he is. It'd be even worse if they actually did kill him off, and we don't kill off the main character. But we know he's not dead. It's
Yeah.
Elvis.
Yeah, I
We're not
know.
killing him off screen.
I can give you that for sure. I'm like
Oh,
99, well, I'm like 100% sure he's not dead. There's no way.
her and I were sitting there, and we're like, "He's not dead." Like I don't feel nothing because I know he's not dead. Now
Yeah.
the acting of Bucky was great, but as a viewer, I know he's not dead. So why am I gonna? I don't feel. I would feel it more if I saw something and we left it. We still didn't know for sure, right? Maybe like they showed us flying with him, and
Yeah.
we didn't know if one of his parachutes got off or something.
Yeah,
Which
that's true.
I don't know, man. It's just for me. To me, I it's not my thing with that treating a character like that. It's not my way of storytelling. But hey, I guess
Yeah.
you're right. The way they tried to do it was their way.
I
But
see what they were going for. Yeah, I do kind of agree with you. I hate the off-screen deaths, and especially the ones where you're like, okay, he's not dead. He's gonna come back. It's just how.
if it was a smaller character, like if it was Crosby, right there, where like we kind of grew to like him, and
Yeah.
we could. He's not like a huge actor where like, oh, you know what, they're totally not gonna come off. Like you could actually believe like, oh, he could have died. Then I would have been. It wouldn't have been as bad. I still wouldn't like it, but it would have been more like, okay, maybe he really is dead.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, but again, I still
Which
wouldn't like it because I'm not a fan of that. But
Crosby is also missing too, right? He didn't make it back.
yes, because he didn't stay back on the ground. If I think.
Yeah, so he's also either dead or more likely probably captured along with
Yeah.
Elvis.
Besides that complaint, like honestly, like and that did sour me so much where I did lower it. Like
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why it wasn't a 9 because honestly, I feel like the other scenes, the Belgium scene with them getting interrogated felt straight out of Inglorious Bastards. It had that tension of like, oh man, are they going to think I'm a German
yeah,
and figuring out one of them was and then just killing him and the other people being surprised. Like that
and
was
that
all
was
very
pretty.
intense.
That was an intense. I wasn't expecting that. Like in that moment, at
Yeah.
least, he's like, "Oh, can I have a cigarette?" I'm like, "Oh crap."
So I was curious what gave him away, and I saw a few theories. Do you have any theories of what gave that guy away of that he was a German spy?
No, honestly, because did we see his interview? I don't remember.
We saw two parts of the interview.
I don't remember what they were.
One, we saw him writing the date, and one theory is that he wrote the numbers a more European way, like the 9 through the
Oh,
line or the 4 through the line or something like.
that's or
Um,
didn't or if they yeah okay.
The other thing is the way he sung the Star Spangled Banner. If you listen to the two actual Americans, they're kind of like nervous and humming it. At one point, Quinn even just starts humming and not singing because he can't remember the words. But
Mm-hmm.
the German spy guy sings it like perfectly, and he even says like "just so proudly we hailed" instead of "and so proudly we hailed." So he messed it up a little bit. So they're saying I saw people speculating that could be why. And then the third thing is his lighter. It wasn't an American Zippo lighter. It was like an Austrian lighter or something. So
Oh,
there's just all these little things that are speckled in there that I
that
thought
could
was really cool.
they could have known it and then that tipped it over, like, oh,
Yeah.
like maybe that's what they asked him for a light, like, and like,
Yep.
okay.
Exactly. They could have had
Yeah.
their suspicions, and that was the final thing.
So that was good. And even like the scene with them on the train, right? When he was confessing that
Yeah.
he couldn't help baby face. Now that I think about it, you are right. As far as like the character moments and the slow moments, this was really good in that sense, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I really like those parts.
What other parts are we missing? My only other negative I had, which I don't even know if it's a negative, but for me, it still felt a little repetitive. Like they get to Africa, they get saved, and then they go back to base. So like, but I get what they're going for. I
Yeah.
think they're going for like,
The
you hit your 25th mission. This is like what it feels like to be in the Air Force in
yeah,
World War II.
that 25th mission party I also feel like was a really good. It was like it showed both sides of it, right? Some people were like really happy for him and excited,
Mhm.
but then other people are like, "Man, if they throw this kind of party for a 25th mission, like how hard is it
Yeah,
to get there? This is the first person to do it. There's no way any of us are getting
yeah.
out of this. You have to be super lucky."
And
And
did they say Bucky and Buck are like at 21 or 20 or
21.
something like that? So they
Um
pointed that out.
I wonder if Bucky's going to hit his 25th and Elvis is still going to be out there and he's going to refuse to be sent back home and go out for more missions or something.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, could be. It's not a bad guess.
Yeah.
I do like that party was interesting though. And then when the sergeant or whatever came in, they're drunk. They're like,
Yeah.
"Let's just bomb Hitler's bunker, little mustache bastard."
And then Bucky stands up to him and yeah, that was an interesting scene. I was like not sure what was going to happen with that.
Yeah, I was because Bucky's like a fun character, but sometimes he's like you don't want to be on his bad side. I feel like because he can get
Yeah.
like in that scene, like you don't know what like if you push Bucky, I feel like he could become what's the
Little
word I'm looking for?
crazy, unhinged.
Unpredictable, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
episode made me like Bucky more. Like I said in the last episodes that I was kind of more invested in some of the side characters like Quinn and Crosby, but I feel more invested in Bucky now, especially after seeing him like see the bombings and contemplate that. And
Because he has layers, right?
yeah, he's
Like,
not just a goofball. Yeah.
yeah, they were right though. This could really nailed that down.
Yep.
I'm telling you, honestly, Austin Butler's character, Elvis, is probably the weakest character.
I
If you want me to
agree.
be honest,
Yeah, biggest actor, like most boring character.
maybe that's why though. Maybe they should have just gotten a little more unrecognizable
Yeah.
faces. You know, like
Yeah.
some of these actors are still recognizable, but they're not to like Austin Butler. You know,
The only other
what else?
scene that I think was, I mean, there were some scenes between like the lady and the new guy who didn't come back, but the main scene that I thought was cool that we haven't talked about was the one where they were taking off and that guy was still fixing the plane, fixing one of the engines.
Oh yeah,
I thought some of those shots were really cool, and that kept me on the edge of my
a couple
seat.
guys. A couple times we've seen that dude. Like I like him. We've only seen him a couple times.
They had some really cool scenes in this, and like I said before, the code scene with the baseball, I felt like I was watching a spy movie. Like that, I
Yeah.
felt was really well done. And then you could just see Bucky getting like unhinged and upset.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, they nailed characters. They had another again. I mean, I liked the party, but it was another party.
Yeah,
But I guess I'll chalk it down to that. The stuff, the repetitiveness. I guess just was when they're at the base. I guess I should say because the stuff with Bucky obviously out wasn't repetitive. The stuff
yeah,
with the guys in Belgium,
I love those
which to me that was still the highlight. You know, they're on the run,
for sure.
and how they were. You know, the guy was taking them after the interviews and stuff, and then they brought her to that into the house, and it's like, is that girl your daughter?
Yeah, yep,
And she's like, no, she's your way out. Like, oh,
yeah, and they're like
she
looking
looks
at her
like
warily. The letter they had to burn, I was like, uh oh, are they just gonna kill him because he's like,
I know. I thought so for a second too.
jeopardizing
Like,
the
oh,
mission
and him kind of freaking. Like I said, that scene with him
on
and
the
the other
train?
buddy. I don't remember their names on the train where
Yeah,
he's confessing he didn't get Babyface out. Like I thought that was good. And then homeboy just darted, man. When they're
yeah.
asking for the ticket.
What was he planning to do? That was
I don't,
silly.
why would yeah, why would you do I mean, I'm not it's not a complaint because honestly that's like totally realistic. You know,
Yeah,
like you're freaking
you just
scared,
freak
you don't know what
out.
to do. But like I was like, dude, what do you think that's gonna do? But you're right, like all that stuff in Belgium and Bucky stuff is what elevates this episode
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm holding
I
out
just
hope that they do the Buck stuff okay and maybe make Buck a more interesting character. Maybe if we see him captured, but I have a feeling he'll
we'll
still
see.
be have his bravado on and not have show any emotion
Like that he literally shows zero emotion.
and
He has zero characterization. He talked about his mom or dad once. Everything about the character, he's had no growth. He doesn't even have a story arc.
yeah,
Like,
not
what is
really.
he like Bucky? Like, obviously, we've seen in this episode has like he's contemplating and confused and lonely, and the other side characters obviously we've got time with, but Elvis, literally nothing, dude.
Nothing. Yeah, he's just a good pilot.
He's a good pilot, and everybody likes him, and he's
Yeah.
cool or whatever. That's it.
He dances with a dog. Did you like that scene? You with
Yeah,
your
I did.
husky Ghost?
Yeah, I did like that.
It
Yeah.
reminded me of Ghost. I was like, "Oh, I want to see
Better
Ghost."
that dog better be safe forever. Yeah, I mean, I could see why I gave it an 8. I'm being overly critical with my side, but I just
No,
hate it.
I see why you give it a 6. I understand. It does seem cheap. They could do it okay. I don't think it was the best way to do it, but yeah, it does kind of just feel like cheap. I honestly didn't believe it until the episode ended. Like, there's no way. There's just
Yeah,
no way. There's just no way.
no. I thought they would have like shown a little scene at the end of like of
Yeah,
Elvis waking up in the woods or something. But that being said, I am excited to see because an unhinged Bucky sounds fun to watch.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie.
I feel like Bucky's gonna be different in the next few episodes. He's gonna be like locked in, but also on edge, so stuff could set him
Like,
off. And
yeah, I was gonna say, like, to a risk of
yeah,
his brothers, up there. So, like,
yep,
I think he could be a liability. I think I hope it's fun to watch because
yeah.
seeing him kill a bunch of Nazis would be awesome. Do you think they ever show like Hitler or like like soldiers on the ground?
In this show, we'll probably see
Yeah,
some soldiers if he is in fact captured. And we saw a few glimpses of it out the train, but
yeah.
I doubt they show Hitler.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
none of
doubt
our
so too.
characters are gonna run into Hitler. That's just
Yeah,
not gonna
it's,
happen.
but it got me. I will give this episode credit too. It got me a little more excited to see the next episode than the last episode made me excited to see this episode.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what comes next because I feel like it's gonna have a different feel almost with Bucky.
Maybe this will be the turning point. You're right, of like the show kind of changing a little bit. Which my once show is said and done, like season one, I think it's just going to be one season. All the other ones these people did, like Band Brothers stuff, was just one season. When this is all done, maybe I'll look back at this episode and it'll be complete opposite. Like I'll love this episode. Like this is the episode where like the show changed, like
Yeah, could be.
pivoting. So you never know. I mean, I hope by the end of the season I'm like that. Maybe this is going to be my favorite episode eventually,
It's
depending on the
possible.
outcomes. I'll leave it up in the air. I am excited to watch it. Like this, the end of this one made me excited more than the last couple. I'm not saying I wasn't excited, but like this one, like the way Unhinged Bucky does sound fun.
Yeah, and just like what's gonna happen, what's going on with Elvis,
Yeah.
the stuff
I
behind
just wish
the lines in Belgium. Yeah, I want to see all that.
I just feel like they didn't need to hide but or Elvis's death. Like we could have seen both sides and
Yeah,
still been excited to see an unhinged Bucky waiting, like knowing that Bucky, he's alive, you can do it. Like, don't give up hope. Like that could have been better than leaving it a cliffhanger. You get what I'm saying? Like that could have been a better cliffhanger of like we know Bucky's alive, we saw him, but Bucky doesn't know that. Or sorry, Elvis is alive. Like,
yeah.
we
No,
would have saw that battle go happen, and then like it would be a different kind of intensity. Like Bucky, he's alive, he's alive.
Yep, I agree. It definitely. I wasn't a huge fan of the off-screen, but we'll
Yeah,
see. We'll see.
it's like fake news, bro. Fake news. Austin Butler is not dead. He's too big of an actor. And if he is, that's even worse, like I said earlier, because then you just killed someone off screen that's supposedly your main character.
Yeah, killed a few. Crosby,
Yeah,
Clevin,
yeah, that's
DeMarco.
true. And I
Yeah.
don't care what people probably try to say, like, oh, this is realistic, right? You're on the ground and your friends die. Well, guess what? I'm watching a show. That's not good writing for
Yeah.
a show. Is it realistic? Yeah, like sure, like your friends could go on a mission, obviously, and
Yeah,
like
but
you
the
don't
other
have
3 episodes, we've been seeing that point of view, so
to.
it's yeah.
I'm just hoping I'm wrong. Like I said, I think it would be awesome if the next episode solely focused on Buck and his crew, like during the same time, and then the episode after, like kind of like what show did that? There was a show we watched recently that did that. I don't remember the show, but there was shows that did like, and maybe it wasn't the show I was watching with you. Maybe it was a different show with Kara I was watching.
I mean, Monarch kind of had something similar with Kiko going down and then being alive later,
Kind
but
of,
I
yeah.
feel that that's
I,
a little different.
I do like when shows like they'll start an episode and you'll see little things start an episode, and like the next episode you'll see the same little things but like from a different point of view, and there's a
Yeah.
different storyline, but it all like a couple times throughout the episode it interacts for the previous episode. I mean, they couldn't do that here because Bucky was completely gone, but you know what I'm saying. Like if
Yeah.
they focused the episode of what happened there, but you're probably right. They're probably not going to show that, at least not next episode.
But overall, I'm really enjoying the show. I'm excited
Mhm.
every time it comes out.
Oh, same. Like, you mentioned this being a slower episode. Like, this whole show, besides, well, I won't say the whole show is slow, but there is slower parts. But I love the slow parts just as much as the action. Actually, without the slow parts, the action would be meaningless.
And
You
repetitive.
wouldn't
Yeah.
know the characters. Yeah. So, like, I'm enjoying the slower parts almost more. Like you said, it humanizes the characters.
Yeah, and there's a lot of characters, so it needs that.
Yeah, and I still don't think the show does the best job distinguishing the characters. Not like when you're watching Band of Brothers, you like each character feels distinct. With this one, I still get mixed up here and there.
Yeah, same.
Maybe I'm just slow. I don't know, but
No, it's not always the clearest for sure.
overall, I'm still digging it. I'm loving it. Apple Plus, whatever it's called. I mean, they've been on a roll.
Yeah, they have some good
It's
shows for sure.
better than Loki. Promise you that.
We'll not get into a Loki rant.
Yeah, that's all I got, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, excited for next episode.